to talk about a show that has been trending, The Polygamist. So if you have not watched it on Netflix, there's going to be a lot of spoiler alerts. But I really enjoyed the show. The cast members were beautiful. I loved all of them. There's only one guy that I was not really happy with. I feel like they could have replaced him with someone else, but I know at the same time that in reality, that is someone's job. So I'm not gonna talk about taking bread out of someone else's mouth. But the show was really amazing. I love the new actors that I saw in the show, people that I've never seen before, that are just killing it. But I want to talk about my opinions about the show. It has been trending and people are taking sides, people are choosing their villains, they are choosing their victims. And for me, when I watched the show, I felt like Joyce was a victim. But but after finishing the show, I realized that actually in that show, I don't I think the only victims were the kids, right? Because first of all, if you look at Joyce, Joyce saw so many red flags and she was holding on to dear life to stay with Jonas. And I think it starts when you are living for social media. It starts when you want validation from people, when you do things just because you want people to see you in a certain light on social media, because her marriage was falling apart, but she wanted to push this narrative that she was couple goals, she was having the best time of her life, which if you're doing that and at the same time you're dying inside, it just means that you don't really love yourself. I actually had something very powerful from David Goggins where he was saying that if you need to go to the gym or anything, actually, not just even going to the gym, but if you need to go to the gym and you don't go to the gym, knowing that you need to go there and work on your body, the problem is not laziness. The problem is that you hate yourself. So the real question that you should be asking yourself instead of why am I lazy is why do I hate myself? Why am I not doing the thing that I know that I'm supposed to do? Right? So if you know that you're supposed to be out of a toxic relationship, but you are staying there, you're holding on, you should ask yourself, why do I hate myself so much that I'm willing to endure such pain? Right? And so with Joyce, if you've not watched, I don't know if I've said it before, there's gonna be a lot of spoiler alerts, but you should go and watch the series. It's really nice. It's a nice show. I loved it. Um, Joyce held on so tight to Jonas, even though she saw the red flags. There was a scene that was so embarrassing, that was so humiliating, where she was begging him, literally begging him, even holding on to the leg. And then the guy said, "Okay, baby, let's go inside and talk about it." And then the guy pretended like he was going inside, and then he rushed off, and he went to his car and he drove off. Yo, yo, may that kind of delusion never locate me, because what was that? It did not matter how many times Joyce humiliated herself in front of her daughter. She wanted to save that marriage. And it was so sad. And I feel like as women, there is something that we don't realize, or maybe we do, I don't know. As women, we don't realize, and that is how much impact we have on our kids, not with the things that we say with them. Kids don't really listen to what you tell them. They watch you, they look at how you behave, they look at how you take care of yourself, and then they mimic that. Even with me, I love gym so much, and I've loved gym for a very long time. And I think part of it also was just me watching my father go to gym when I was young. It was me watching my father take care of himself. So the way you take care of yourself as a parent, you need to know that your kids are watching. They might not say anything. It might seem like they're not watching, but the way you behave, the way you treat yourself, your kids are watching and your kids are taking notes, right? And then, um, so I was saying that what Jonas was doing, it's very normalized here in South Africa, which is not really a nice thing to say, but it's really normalized when men have a wife and a side chick or a girlfriend. If he has a wife and a girlfriend, and the wife knows that he has a girlfriend, the community really applauds that guy. They tell him, wow, he's um such a player, but like not in an insulting way, like wow. Other men aspire to be polygamist. Other men see men who's a polygamist and they are like, I wish my wife was as understanding as you. Like, how crazy is that? Also, another thing that I've noticed is men have double standards. Like, a man want to tr- will not want to see their daughter being treated the way they are treating their um their wife. But with this show specifically, The Polygamist, I feel like Joyce was also a villain because first of all she saw that it was toxic but she did not want to leave. She held on for dear life because for her it was important to show this image to people that she has um a good um marriage even though she was falling apart, right? The second thing is um Joyce was not supposed to kill that guy. She was angry, granted, but if now you're going to kill people who hurt you, then how different are you from the people who hurt you? In this case, I feel like Joyce is even worse because now imagine seeing your kids crying because they've lost their father and you are celebrating or you're pretending like you're crying, knowing very well that you're the one who killed their father. How evil is that? Okay. And then now let's go to Joyce's mother. Joyce's mother was saying to Joyce this other time, stop wearing this sweater, these baggy pants. Just wear something sexy for your wife, for your husband. And I feel like that is so wrong. If you're a lady, you can put yourself together, you can wear something nice, you can wear something sexy, but I don't feel like women should be pressured to wear sexy for men. I feel like women should decide what they want to wear and they should do it because they love themselves. So if I was in Joyce's shoes and I saw that my man was cheating on me, what I would have done was to um start if I'm not ready to if I'm not ready to, let's say, leave the relationship, what I would do is I would start putting all of that energy into me. I would start going for solo dates. I would start buying things that make me feel good, not for the man. I'd start doing things that I've always wanted to do. Hey there, thank you so much for joining in. I'm talking about The Polygamist, the show that was playing on Netflix that I really loved. I'm just sharing my opinions about it, right? So I feel like it was wrong for. I don't understand your question, Marvin, but I was just talking about how Joyce's mother was telling Joyce to wear something sexier for the wife because if she doesn't wear sexier, then I mean, for the husband, or the husband is gonna go out there and get side chicks and girlfriends. And I feel like that is so wrong. As women, if you wanna wear sexy, you should do it, but do it for yourself, not for man's validation. Because if your man cheats on you, ladies, it is never your fault. And I feel like if a man makes a woman start comparing herself and start thinking, I have to dress a certain way because my man likes ladies who are wearing maybe shorts or who are wearing dresses, then that man is a red flag. But like I said, Joyce held on to her red flag so much. She was willing to save that relationship, even if it meant losing her mind. And I think she actually did lose her mind by the end, because you, the father of your kids, that is not sane. And what else? Okay, so for me, one of the things that I really did not like about Jonas, that one for me, that was really scary. When Jonas started dating his daughter's best friend. For me, that is so dangerous. If you can see your daughter's best friend and see that this is someone you can sleep with, in my opinion, I feel like even their daughter is not safe. And I know maybe I am exaggerating, but if you can see your daughter's best friend and see a woman that you can sleep with, then as a man, you are very dangerous to the society. So for me, that was the biggest red flag from that guy. But it happens, and it's celebrated. It happens. Like, people love it when men who are 50-year-olds are dating 20-year-olds. They see it and they celebrate it, and that is not nice, right? Hi guys, thank you so much for joining in. Let me know in the comment section if you have watched The Polygamist, and if you have, what is your opinion and who was your favorite character? Okay, another thing that I want to talk about that show was also Jonas's son. I forgot his name. I think it was Menzi. But that guy, when Jonas died, and that guy now was working, and he had money, and he was able to attract all the ladies that he wanted. He was starting to become a player. He was starting to become his father. He was starting to become a Jonas. So now it's like, what was the point of your father dying if you're gonna take over from the same evil ways that he he was on? What is the point? Let's say, for an example, you grow up in an environment where you are being abused as a child. I never understand people who were abused as children who become abusers as adults, because if something happened to you that was so horrible, that was so hurtful, why, as a human being, would you want to do that same thing to someone else? So I don't understand. If you have been hurt as a child, you lived in a family where you were abused, why would you want to abuse your kids? I would rather a person who is abused decide to not have kids at all, because they're like, you know what, I don't want my kids to grow up experiencing the same thing that I experienced, instead of growing up and doing the exact same thing that was done to you. That is crazy for me, right? And then what else? Okay, and then that girl, the best friend who was a little villain, the one who lied to her boyfriend about pregnancy. That was so wrong. And I'm so glad that the boyfriend caught her. in her lives. But also, I feel like it is not an excuse if you grow up in a poor environment that you need to go out there and date older men. It is not an excuse. It is not an excuse to go out there and sell your soul just because you grew up poor, right? And there's a book that I've been listening to. Listening to it actually for the second time. The name of the book is The Courage to Be Disliked. I love that book so much. It says that your background does not have to define your future. If you feel like your background is so bad, you can, I don't know, pretend like it didn't happen or forget about it, but you don't have, your background does not have to define your future. Just because someone grew up in a very difficult environment does not mean that their future has to be difficult. Every choice that you take on a daily is you voting for the future that you want. There are people who come from very difficult circumstances who make it in life. I think Nelson Mandela is also one of those examples where you come from rural areas, but you make it, you become global, you become this hero that people from all over the world look to. So it's very important that um, you don't let your background define you. You don't let bad things that have happened to you um, define your future, right? I have a class of yoga in a few minutes, so I'm gonna leave my live soon. Hi there. Please leave a like. Thank you so much for joining in. What else did I wanna talk about when it comes to the polygamist that I forgot? Yo, okay, this one. My I think it was Matiba or Matiba, but the side chick, the one who had twins, leaving the twins with the first wife. Okay, first of all, I actually don't know who is the first wife between Joyce and the lady who was left in the township, because the lady who was in the township, I don't know her name there, but the character that's acted by Celeste, um, let me talk about her actually. She was also wrong because, first of all, she saw that her best friend was a player. But you know what we do as women? We want to fix this gender. So she was trying to fix him. First of all, she started by hiding to the girlfriends where he was. She would say things like, no, she left, knowing that she is at the back of the room with another girlfriend. And then she asked him, when are you going to stop being a player? And then the guy said, I'm going to stop being a player when you give me a chance. That was one thing that she should have known, that once a player, always a player. You cannot change a man. As a woman, you need to understand that you can never, ever, ever, ever change a man. And then after that, she started being Bob the Builder, right? And she started building her man by giving her savings for her to go and study in, I think it was in Johannesburg, to do her engineering, making all the promises. So if someone is a player, just know that you're going to deal with that and you're okay with it. Don't hope that you can change that person, because you cannot change a player, right? So I feel like she was the first wife for me. And then now here's where I have a problem with her. The guy um was with her at the grocery store, and they were buying clothes for her baby, and she was heavily pregnant. And then they meet the second wife, Joyce, right? And then the guy lies to the wife and says, no, this is my brother's wife. I'm just helping her to buy clothes because she's pregnant. And she was like, yes. No, no. If it was me, I was going to say no. This guy that I'm with is my man, right? And I am pregnant. This is his baby. We are buying clothes for our baby. I was gonna cause so much sin. Knowing how crazy I am, I was gonna cause so much sin. So I blame that lady for what is the word? What is the word? But that guy lied, and this lady did not say anything. She just kept quiet. And then she asked him, "Why did you lie?" And then the guy was like, "No, I only lied because um, this lady, uh, her father is the one who has tenders." No, you must not be part of someone's lies. You must speak your mind, ladies. Cause a sin if you have to. There's nothing wrong with causing a sin if you have to protect your peace. Because now she was this secret who is hidden for years just because I don't even know what that guy was doing for her to lie so much. Also, I think this is one of the things that I've also learned from that show. Ladies, let's make our own money. Let's make our own money. If you have your own money, if you know your worth, you love yourself, you will not be in that situation because you know that if you see a red flag, you move because you know that you're worthy of something better. If you have your own money, you will not be forced to stay in a relationship that is killing you just because you want um, to have a lifestyle that you can't afford. Because I think that was the biggest thing from all of these ladies. They wanted that guy's money one way or another. They wanted to live that life. And it's so sad that the kids, the siblings, so the kids from the family that was known and the kids that were abandoned, that they started hating each other. They started fighting with each other. They started being jealous amongst each other just because of their parents' choices. So I feel like in that show, the the kids were the victims. The adults, they were all villains for me. They were all villains. And when Matipa, I think it was Matipa, left her kids with the first wife, I was convinced that, you know what, first wives are, what is it, are rides or dies for their husbands. It doesn't matter how toxic they are. And I've seen these guys. It's so sad. I've seen it with someone close to me. I'm not gonna embarrass or humiliate anyone, but like um they see how toxic their husband is. Their husband goes out there, makes kids and come back, and then she raises those kids. Like she I think it's how we I think it's how our parents we I don't know if I want to say how they were raised, or I don't know if it's the fear of what people will say, right? But there are so many people out there who stay in relationships that are so toxic just because they want this facade. And also, there's this thing where people feel like men are the prize. So people hold on. They're like, I'm gonna hold on to dear life because I finally got married. Yo, I hope that as this generation, we teach our kids better. We teach them to love themselves. We teach our daughters to make their own money so that when they're with a man, they're with a man not because they're obligated by bills, not because they want to maintain a certain lifestyle, but because they really want to be there. I feel like when you have your money together, you're able to get out of a toxic relationship fast because you are making decisions from what is right, not from hunger, right? They say that you must never go to buy groceries while you are hungry. So if you have your own money, I feel like you make better decisions. I feel like you love yourself better. I feel like you treat yourself better as well. I have a class now of yoga in 10 minutes and let me go because if I don't leave right now, someone is gonna take my spot. I really enjoyed this life. Mm. I've not done a live in a very long time, and I love doing these. Now I'm gonna go and do yoga. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Please leave me a like and let me know if you have watched The Polygamist. Let me know, who do you think is a villain? And let me know, who do you think is a victim? For me, I think all the adults were villains, and I think the victims were just kids. But also, I want you to remember that your past does not have to define your future, right? And there's also something that I've learned recently from Abraham Hicks, where Abraham Hicks was saying that the most important job that you have in this life is to be happy. So if you can decide that you just want to be happy, I feel like you're going to have a great life. Where you just decide, okay, I'm gonna do something that's gonna make me happy. Take it one day at a time. And ladies, let's not stay in toxic situations, right? And I'm not perfect. I've been in situations where I was with toxic people as well, and that was because back then I did not know my worth. So as ladies, let's learn to know our worth. Let's learn to love ourselves. Let's learn to make our own money. Having your own money as a lady is the biggest flex. I cannot stress that enough. And I'm so grateful and glad that for me, my father told me from a tender age that, my baby, one thing that I want from you is to make your own money, because men out there are really, they can really disrespect you. So I want you to be in a situation where if a man says futek to you, excuse the language, you say ta, and you say, in fact, get out of my house. So that has been, it was really weird for me to get that lesson from my father, especially because my mother was a housewife and my father was taking care of my mother in all aspects. So for him to tell me to make my own money and be independent, that was a bit strange for me, but I took that, and I'm so glad that I learned that from an early age. So ladies, let's make our own money. Let's learn how to love ourselves. Let's learn to forgive ourselves. Let's learn to do better, and let's um realize that our past does not have to define our future. So guys, I hope you liked this. Have a day as beautiful as you are. Let me go before someone takes my spot in my yoga class. I love you. Goodbye.